So this is the general form of a quadratic equation. Now, in order to prove the quadratic formula, we need to make use of this equation. So let's get into it. The first thing we need to consider doing here is to make the coefficient of x squared equals 1. So we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. In order to make x squared equals 1, we need to divide both sides by its coefficient, a. So dividing both sides by a, we will be able to eradicate its coefficient and make it to become 1, because a will cancel a, and we're going to be left with x squared plus bx over a plus c over a equals 0. Now the next thing is to take c over a to this side. So therefore, x squared plus bx over a equals minus c over a. So it should be equals minus c over a, because the sign will changes. So minus c over a. Now, the next thing we need to do is to multiply the coefficient of x by half, squared our result, and add it to both sides. The coefficient of x turns out to be b over a. So we have to multiply it with half, 1 over 2, and we have to square the result. So b over a times 1 over 2 turns out to be b over 2a, and its square becomes b squared over 4a squared. So we are required to add it to both sides, that is, both the left hand side and the right hand side. So let's do that. Let me create a little space. So adding it to both sides, we have x squared. We have x squared plus bx over a plus b squared over 4a squared equals minus c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Now, the next thing we need to do is to compress this expression we have at the left hand side. We need to write it in a smaller form. And how can we do that? Now, in order to compress this in a smaller form, we need to make some arrangement. That is, we need some numbers or two numbers that when we multiply these two numbers, it will give us the product of the first term and the last term. And when we add these two numbers, it will give us the middle term. So what are these numbers? So this number turns out to be bx over 2a. So for the sake of proof, you might pause the video and multiply bx over 2a with each other. Then definitely they are going to give you the product of the first term and the last term. And at the same time, if you sum bx over 2a plus bx over 2a, then you have to have bx over a. So what we need to do is to replace bx over a, that is the middle term, with bx over 2a plus bx over 2a. Since we said when we add it together, it's still going to give us the middle term. So we want to replace the middle term with bx over 2a. So it means we have x squared plus bx over 2a plus bx over 2a plus b squared over 4a squared. Now, let's continue. The next thing we need to do here is to take out the GCF. Okay, so let's put it in a bracket. So we need to take out the GCF. So x is common at the left hand side. We have x as a common factor, and we are going to be left with x plus b over 2a. Then for the right hand side, we have plus what is common? B over 2a. B over 2a is common. Then we have x plus b over 2a. Okay, so let's choose one and rewrite them. So it means we are going to have x plus b over 2a multiplied by x plus b over 2a. Now, we will observe that these two expressions turns out to be the same. They are likely terms, and we have two common sign between them, which is positive sign. So it means we can write this expression in this form: x plus b over 2a all squared. So it means for the left hand side, this is how we can compress it. That is, this is how we can rewrite it in a smaller form. So therefore, let's bring back the right hand side for the previous expression. So it means x plus b over 2a all squared will be equals to minus c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. So let's focus on the right hand side now. Okay, now what we need to do is just to find the LCM for the right hand side. In order to find the LCM, we can make use of 4a squared as the LCM. So we have 4a squared to be the LCM. So a can go in 4a squared, that's 4a. 4a times minus c, that's minus 4ac. So we have minus 4ac. Then 4a squared can go in 4a squared, that's 1. 1 times b squared, that's plus b squared. So it means our right hand side is simply equals to this. So let's replace this with this. Okay, so it means we have x plus b over 2a, x plus b over 2a all squared to be equals minus 4ac plus b squared over 4a squared. The next thing we need to do is to root both sides. So let's root both sides in order to cancel the squares. So rooting both sides, we have x plus b over 2a all squared multiplied by 1 over 2 to be equals to the square root of minus 4ac plus b squared over 4a squared. Over 4a squared. So this will cancel, and we are going to be left with x plus b over 2a at the left hand side. And for the right hand side, 4a squared is a perfect square. So it means the root will cancel 4a squared. I'm left with minus 4ac plus b squared. This means we are going to have the square root of minus 4ac plus b squared, then divided by 2a squared, because the square root of 4 is 2 and the square root of a squared is a. So we are going to be left with 2a. Okay, now the next we need to do is to bring b over 2a to this side. So it means we are going to have x to be equals square root of minus 4ac plus b squared over 2a over 2a. When positive b over 2a is coming to this side, it becomes minus b over 2a. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to associate them together by finding the LCM. Since they have common denominator, then we just need to take one. So it means x will be equals to 2a and all divided by square root of minus 4ac plus b squared, then minus b, which means let's rearrange these numbers. Okay, so it means, or these variables rather, so it's we are going to have minus b plus or minus, don't forget it is square root, so it has to be associated with plus or minus sign, b squared minus 4ac and all 2 divided by 2a, and that's it. So that's how the quadratic formula was being derived. So hopefully you guys are now clear with how it's being proved. So here's an exercise for you. So if you use the quadratic formula to solve the following equation. So if you want me to review your answer, you can comment it in the comment section below, and I promise to reply as early as possible. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that now. Give it a like. See you guys in the next video. Thank you.